Well, there's nobody under more pressure, Pete, than Lopetegui at West Ham. 0-0 draw at home to Everton. That seemed like one they absolutely had to win. Yes, David Sullivan has backed Lopetegui publicly, but sometimes that kind of means the opposite. Does he get until Christmas, or is it really game by game right now for the new manager? I mean, he was just backed so heavily. The results have to start coming.
Yeah, I think obviously he is bang under pressure. There's no doubt about that. He's got a big few weeks coming up. Lopetegui, they have sort of failed to hit the heights this season. West Ham, as you said, were one of the biggest spenders in the transfer market, and a lot of those deals haven't worked out as yet.
Have you seen his next three fixtures, by the way? You see where they're
yeah, he's
going
got a few
next?
toughies coming up there. A few toughies: Newcastle and
At,
Arsenal.
at Newcastle, home to Arsenal, and then at Leicester.
Yeah, I think maybe those first two he might have to just free hits. Maybe Newcastle and Arsenal. If he gets anything out of those games, it's a bonus. But the next three after that, Leicester, Wolves, and Bournemouth, probably games that West Ham should be thinking they should win. And if you can pick up those wins, that'll ease a lot of pressure. But I don't get the intention that David Sullivan wants to sack Lopetegui. I think he wants to keep faith with him. He obviously made a big decision in the summer to employ him and got rid of David Moyes, who obviously had so much success with West Ham, winning a European trophy, finishing in the top 8 every season as well. But I think he is probably getting a plan B just in case things don't go well. So, as Paul's mentioned, I think probably the next 5 games will go a long way to deciding what happens with Lopetegui.
And Paul, obviously we know that West Ham were interested in Ruben Amorim this summer. Now Manchester United's new manager. Do you think they may go back to the Portuguese well and look at Sergio Conceição, who was most recently at Porto and had them playing some pretty good football? Should they sack Lopetegui?
Well, you look at the 3 titles he won at Porto. Porto's been a decent breeding ground for top managers who have come to the Premier League and done well. Amorim being the latest. Mourinho was there, wasn't he? Amorim coming from Sporting. But Portugal, the Portuguese league has been a good breeding ground for managers that have come to the Premier League and done extremely well. The 3 titles he won there with Porto, numerous domestic cups. He's got a great CV, but I agree with Pete. I think the West Ham hierarchy, they employed a manager in the summer only 4 months ago, 5 months ago, who they trusted to do a job, and they knew it was going to be a big overhaul. It's not going to take a manager one transfer window and have an immediate impact. It's taken longer than they expected and longer than they wanted, and the unrest has obviously already started, because I think the thing for Lopetegui is you're not seeing those signs of change. I think they're seeing much of what they saw last year, but without any kind of results or turnaround. Conceição is a top manager, and he's out of work, which is a huge bonus for West Ham. When you look at the opportunity to have to pay or not to pay compensation fees, the fact that he's got such a great CV, such a great track record, and he's out of work, and Manchester United have just employed somebody from the Portuguese league. Yeah, there is. You can see the links, but I think they want to trust Lopetegui and give him time to get it right.
And Pete, it looks like West Ham, as we mentioned earlier, Tariq Lamptey an option, Archie Brown another one they're looking for. It seems like they're actually more looking for a left back than a right back, right? They brought Wan-Bissaka in the summer. Could either of these players make a potential January move to kind of help that defense and that's been leaking goals?
Yeah, we spoke about Lamptey. He could be available in January if Brighton want to decide to cash in on him rather than risk allowing him to run down his contract. So maybe West Ham feel they could get Lamptey on a cheap deal in January. Also Archie Brown, he's been linked with a move back to England for a long time now. He's been doing very well out in Belgium with Ghent, been very impressive in the Belgian league. But I think West Ham are one of a number of clubs looking at him, so it wouldn't be a straightforward race for West Ham to try and lure him to England. Tottenham, Chelsea, Brentford and Leeds have all been mentioned with Brown as well. I think left back is an area of the team that West Ham would like to strengthen in. They've obviously got Emerson, who is the first choice left back right now, but then they've got Aaron Cresswell, who's signed a new 1-year deal in the summer, so he's out of contract in the summer. He's not getting any younger. I think West Ham would ideally like to lower the age of their squad as well, and Archie Brown would tick a lot of boxes. He's English, young player as well, so I think he's a realistic target for West Ham, but I think there'll be a number of clubs who'll be ready to sign Archie Brown as well, so it'll be a difficult race to win if West Ham do firm up their interest in Brown.